Merry Christmas everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to create Buddy from the Elf film. The first thing you need is 20 grams of skin tone modelling paste, roll it into a ball and then roll a little on one side to create kind of a very short capsule shape. Place your finger halfway up the shape and roll back and forward to create a groove, and then use your fingers to smooth the top edge of the groove. This will become the forehead and the lower half will become the lower half of the face. I'm now pushing my thumbs into the middle of the groove to create the eye sockets. My thumbs are about 5mm apart. Next we have to remove the outer edge of our thumbprints because they leave quite a harsh line, so you want a nice smooth transition from the rest of the face to the eye sockets. Also make sure you go over the nose to round that off as well. Next I'm using the Dresden tool just to create the bottom of the nose there, so I'm pushing from the bottom and from either side just to create the tip. And then we're back to the fingers again, where we're going to carry on smoothing and shaping the nose. It's best to use your fingers because one, you can feel what you're doing, obviously, and two, you're not going to leave as many marks as you would if you were using a tool. So now I'm going to show you what the profile looks like, and I've noticed the bridge of his nose is a little bit too shallow, so I'm using my fingers just to kind of pinch and pull that out a little bit to make it more defined. And now we're back to more fingers, so I'm just moving the nose around a little bit more just to try and get some more definition in it, because it's a male character and I want more of a striking nose than the female characters that I normally make. I did spend an awful lot of time on this nose, I have to say, so if you want to skip forward, please feel free. So now I'm going back in with the Dresden tool just to kind of square off the tip again, because you do slightly lose it. It becomes like a mound, and you do need that kind of clear definition around the outside of the tip and the nostrils. Yay, I have finished the nose. So now I'm drawing the mouth in. I'm drawing a straight line underneath the nose using the Serrat tool, going over the line a few times to create kind of a deepish line. It'll be about 1mm deep once I've finished. Next you want to take a sharp knife and cut through the line. You're going into the face about 3-4mm, and then once you've done that, put the knife into the hole and then lift the top lip away from the bottom lip. So I'm now going to show you the profile view, so you can see the top lip stands out a little bit more than the bottom, and then I'm using the Dresden tool on my fingers just to neaten up and tidy up that top lip before going in with the wide end of the Dresden tool and pulling down the bottom lip so that the mouth is open. Buddy's mouth is open quite wide, so I'm gently teasing and pulling the paste downwards so that I create that open mouth, and then going in with my fingers just to tidy up around the edges just in case I've left tool marks. Then I'm shaping around the jawline as well, because you want to make sure that the jaw and the chin look correct. I'm now just using the tool to give the upper section of the mouth where it meets the top lip some corners, and then I'm going in with the ball tool just to smooth out all of the tool marks that were left in the back of the mouth. Watching this, I'm wondering if this is how a dentist feels while they're working on your teeth. I don't know, maybe I should be a dentist. I'm now going back into the mouth again and just kind of moving it around, tidying it up and getting the shape that I want. Every time I touch the paste, it moves a little bit, so you'll probably have to keep going back and redoing the mouth until you fill it. I'm now using the ball tool to create the eyes. He's got oval eyes, so I've used a 5mm ball tool, pushing it in and then upwards and then slightly outwards towards the temples to give it kind of a more rounded outer edge. And I thought I'd finish with the nose, but apparently not, so I'm just going in and kind of creating a right angle between the top lip and the nose using the Dresden tool again, and then shaping the upper lip a little bit to define the actual lip. Next up, I'm adding the eyeballs, so I've got 2 small balls of white modelling paste which I've rolled into ovals, and then I'm placing them in the eye and using my fingers to pat down until they're flush with the face. Now that the eyes are in, I can shape the upper side of the face, so I'm just pushing my fingers in on either side of the eyes just to narrow it out ever so slightly. I'm using the ball tool to add the holes for the pupils, so I'm pushing that in on the lower inner corner of each eye. Now it's time to fill the mouth in, so I've mixed some Magic Red by Magic Colours gel colour and some chocolate colour to create a very deep burgundy dark red colour. I've shaped it roughly into the shape of the open mouth, and then I'm popping it in and then using the Dresden tool to fit. The burgundy paste needs to fit the entire inside of the mouth, so using the Dresden tool I'm just gently stretching it out where I need it to be. It also needs to sit flush at its edge with the skin tone paste so it doesn't kind of stand proud inside the mouth. I'm now using the ball tool again just to smooth off all the tool marks I've made so it's got a nice neat finish. And again, I'm going back in with the mouth because all that playing around has changed the shape of the mouth. So now I'm just kind of going in with my fingers and just redoing it. So I'm happy with it. I've now got a kind of salmon coloured pink piece of paste. Unfortunately, I don't know what colour that was. And I've rolled it into kind of a flattish oval shape, popped it in the mouth, and then used the scriber needle to add a line at the back to look like the tongue. Now that the tongue is in place, I'm just pushing up the bottom lip ever so slightly and reshaping the jaw. Next up, it's the nostrils. I could have done this earlier, but apparently I just like leaving the nose and coming back to it at random moments in the tutorial. So I'm just pushing the serre art tool into the paste just to give the character his nostrils. Next up, it's the teeth. So I've taken a small piece of white paste, rolled it into a sausage with tapered ends, painted a little glue under the top lip, and then I'm gently placing that in position. You want it to sit back a bit. If you think where your teeth are, they don't sit on your lips, so this sits slightly backwards into the mouth. Then I'm using the Dresden tool just to shape it out so the middle is slightly deeper than the outer edges, and then tucking any kind of excess paste back in towards the mouth. I really wish I hadn't added this bit because it looks really creepy. Ugh. Anyway, so now we're taking 2 small balls of black modelling paste and placing them inside the holes that I created earlier in the eyes, then using my fingers to gently pat them in so that they sit flush with the rest of the face. Now it's onto the eyelashes. Well, I need to take a breath here. So I've just taken 2 extremely small balls of black modelling paste, flexed my palm so it's nice and taut, and then rolled them in my palm into taper-ended sausages, painted some glue around the top and outer edge of each eye, and then used my other glue brush, which is a slightly thicker brush, taken most of the glue off, used that to pick up the piece of paste and to fit it in position. Looking at my reference image, I've realised that his eyebrows are higher in the centre and lower on the outer edge, so I'm just using my finger just to push the middle of the eye socket area up a little bit so that his brow bone is in a slightly different shape, and then using the Dresden tool to kind of accentuate it so it's got more of a kind of line there. Then I'm taking some autumn leaf coloured paste and rolling 2 long cone shapes and attaching them in place on the kind of the brow bone. In actual fact, when I finished this model, I moved the eyebrows down a little bit because I realised how little forehead that he had left, so they are a little bit lower in the final image but in the same kind of position. Now it's time to add the ears, so I'm pushing a ball tool into the side of the head. The ball tool goes in about 5mm. Then I'm going to add some glue into the ear holes, roll 2 cones of the skin tone modelling paste, pop the pointed end into the hole, and then I'm going to push a ball tool into the centre of the ear and then push that towards the side of the head. That anchors the ear in position. I'm now giving the character some sideburns, so I've got my dark kind of autumn leaf coloured paste and I have shaped it into a pointed cone shape and placed the points just in front of the ears, and now I'm using my fingers to stretch and pull the paste so it goes around the top of the ear and up towards the temples. Now I'm onto the body. That is 3 grams of garden green by Magic Colours, and I've rolled it into a ball and then shaped it into kind of a dome shape, and I'm going to attach that onto the bottom edge of the blue disc. The blue disc is a 68mm circle. I'm now pushing a ball tool into the top to create a hole for where the neck will sit, and then using the scribe needle to draw 3 lines for the opening of his jacket. Then I've taken a ball of skin tone modelling paste, rolled it into a squat cylinder shape and attached that to the circle and pushed it into the hole at the top of the neck. Next up is the collar. I've got 1.5 grams of white modelling paste which I've shaped into a rectangle shape. Then I'm cutting out a V from the front, and then I'm going to use my fingers to neaten up the cut edge because I don't like the square edge that it leaves. Fit the collar onto the upper side of the body and then use your fingers to kind of blend it and move it into the position you want. You can also use the Dresden tool to fit it along the back as well if you're not happy with how it's kind of sitting. At this point I noticed the collar was looking more like a pilgrim's collar than the one that Buddy wears, so I'm just using the knife to trim away the end of the collar to give it a more defined point. I'm now trimming away the top of the neck at an angle so the head sits nicely, and then I'm going to attach the head to the cupcake. Then it's onto the hat, and I have taken 5 grams of garden green modelling paste. I've rolled it into a cone shape, and then I'm pushing it down on the work surface to flatten off the base. Then we need to trim off the back edge of the cone because it's going to sit against a flat surface, and attach it onto the top of his head. Use some egg yellow modelling paste to create a strip and attach that around the width of his hat. For his hair, you want 5 grams in total. That includes the eyebrows and the sideburns. And I'm rolling small balls into longish kind of teardrop shapes, and then rolling them into spirals and attaching them to the head. I decided his hair looked a little bit flat, so I'm going to add in some more spirals towards the back of his head just to kind of widen it out a little bit, and then I'm going to add 2 more underneath, or 1 underneath each ear, just to bring his hairline down a little bit at the back of his head. I'm using a makeup brush and some Petal Rouge by Magic Colours to dust his cheeks to give him a rosy glow, and then I'm going to mix some beige by Squire's Kitchen with Skin Tone by Sugarcraft to create kind of a warm beige colour, and I'm going to dust that around the outer sides of his face, so along the chin, around the jaw, the upper lip, underneath the nose, along the bridge of the nose, around underneath the eyebrows and his forehead, and then his inner ears as well. I've also used that colour dust to go around the outer edge of his collar as well, just to give that a little depth, and then some apple green by Magic Colours to dust the green on his hat. And now we're going to work on the hair, so I'm using Chocolate by Sugar Flare, and I'm dusting where the hair meets the skin and then between each of the different hair swirls. Take some red paste, roll it into a rice grain shape, and then flatten between your fingers, and then attach that to the upper right side of the hat. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas.